Hey, this is Pat Casey coming to you from Peak State Fit in Salt Lake City, Utah. I wanted to go through a little shoulder activation routine and thoracic spine mobility, sort of as a pre-warm-up to riding. A lot of athletes come to us with upper body pains and discomforts, and I think it's important that we incorporate the upper body into our mental awareness and our body awareness when we're getting on the bike, whether you're a mountain biker, gravel rider, TT, bike, triathlete, or a road cyclist like myself. I think later into the year, we tend to get a lot more aches and pains in our neck, shoulders, arms, and mid-back, and some of these things can certainly help with that. So I'm going to start out a few items you'll need today. A long resistance band. This is going to be used for a few of our different movements, a yoga block or a foam roller, and then a chair, couch, anything really to prop your feet. So we're going to start with some nice breathing and a little bit of adduction with the hips. So we're going to elevate our feet. We're going to go 90 degrees at the knees, 90 degrees at the hips. And then we're going to place our block, our foam roller, or whatever you have, even like a small soccer ball, or if you have kids with a blow-up ball, you can use that too. So place that block. We're going to start with just a nice 60-second squeeze of that block, just pulsing. So you can perform, some people say, doing actually 60 squeezes. I'm just going to have us do this for a minute for the sake of time. And we're just turning things on with those adductors. We're turning down our glutes, squeezing that block. Go from about 0% contraction to 20-25%. There shouldn't be a lot of curve in your low back here. So if you need to kind of reset so it's comfortable, it's nice to have some padding on the floor. So if you have a yoga mat or you're on some carpet, that's great. And that's pretty good. All right. Now we're going to maintain a nice light isometric, squeezing that block. We're going to make a nice soft fist. We're going to place our hands on a 45-degree angle. The goal here is to encourage rotation at the shoulder joint. So if you're going on this internal rotation and your pecs are so tight that they're pulling your shoulders inward, just try your best to let them relax and just get that rotation from the shoulder joint. We're just going to rotate internally and externally. And as we rotate externally, mine are particularly tight where my elbows really want to pull off the ground. So try to maintain this nice contact of the forearm with the ground. We'll go 20 rotations total. So it'd be 10 each direction. And every time you're doing this external rotation, you might start feeling a little bit of a tug, maybe a little bit of heat going up sort of the radial side of your inner arm. I do in particular, and that's okay. I think just as long as there's no pain or any kind of acute heat or pressure, you're in a safe space. Again, we're not doing this with any kind of tension. This should feel like it's getting a little bit easier with every rotation. If you can straighten your arms out a little easier, do that. Kind of feel that awareness of when you rotate internally, hold, externally, hold. Again, just a nice fluid warm up for the rotation of the shoulder joint. So again, we get really tight through our pec minor as we sit. Shoulders are in internal rotation a lot of the day. So even just getting on the ground and allowing the shoulder to relax and not stay in that rolled forward position can be super beneficial. All right, one more. Excellent. So we'll remove the block. Actually, I'm going to keep the block. I'm actually going to add a little bit of width here so that I maintain this isometric with my hips. So this is one area that a lot of us can use a little more of as well as internal hip rotation. Talking about complacencies with the shoulders, you can't ignore the hips. So the next movement we're going to do is, again, we're going to try to incorporate a little bit of movement with the shoulder in retraction. A lot of times when we're on the bike, we are very protracted. Shoulders are forward, pecs are engaged, our upper back is kind of lengthened out. And so we're working towards accurate representation of the shoulder joint so that when we're going into that TT position, we can drop the shoulders back, get the head to drop into the forearms and tighten that leading edge. Maybe we're trying to get into a nice aggressive position on the road bike, which have to roll our shoulders back to incorporate. So we're going to add a little bit isometric again. So we'll start about maybe a little narrower than shoulder width and then pull a little wider than shoulder width. This is going to activate the posterior side of your shoulder. And then while we're holding this position, I'm going to drop my shoulders. The reason why I'm staying on my back for this is that we sort of take that scapular glide out of the equation. So not that the scapula is staying pinned, but it's not compensating for the lack of retractability of the shoulder. So obviously the scapula needs to move. And it does, but it's not performing all of the movement for that shoulder joint. You can see when I come forward, pull that band apart, and then allow that shoulder to drop. We're going to go 5 more for a total of 12. Every time you're coming up, try to pull the band apart and drop the shoulders, relax them away from the ears. It's easy to get all the way up here and get kind of choked off and lose the benefit of the drill. Excellent. All right. So now that we've been in this sort of neutral spinal position, we're going to incorporate a little cat-cow, just mobilizing the thoracic spine. Again, we want the thoracic spine to be mobile, be able to go into kyphosis without compromising our breathing ability. So we'll go set up for this, hands under shoulders, knees under hips in a nice all 4 position. And then we'll start by pulling the chin back. Actually, I should start more neutral so I can show you the difference. So chin back, shoulders come up, T-spine goes into flexion, and then drop the pelvis. We'll go into anterior tilt, extend the T-spine, drop the shoulders, pull the head up. Now think of this almost like in a compartmentalized way. This is one of the few things that I really encourage doing in this kind of compartmentalized fashion, but we'll do 6 each direction. You'll start feeling different areas get a little easier to move into. It's the goal. We're adding some shoulder into the mix as well. You can tell when I'm allowing that T-spine to go back into extension, I want to allow the thoracic spine to do it before I allow the shoulders to retract. Excellent. One more. Beautiful. Now we'll stand up. We'll add in a little bit of a dynamic with that scapular retraction. Our spines should be nice and warmed up. Our shoulders should be able to drop down away from our ears. Now we're just going to do 10 nice scapular retractions. So start with our hands about shoulder width. Drop the shoulders away from your ears. We shouldn't be doing these from this position. So nice elbows in this sort of externally rotated position. We should have a little bit of tautness on the band, and then pull back. We're really pinning those scapula together. 2-second hold at the top. Six. 8. 9. 10. 2 more. 11. And 12. Beautiful. All right, that's your upper body warm up. If you felt like any of those areas need some improvement, feel free to add them in at your leisure. I like doing these things at night after a long day to sort of reset and feel better in the morning, but also a viable thing to do in the morning first thing. So enjoy. Hope your shoulders feel better.